Hello and welcome to A Northern Perspective. My name is Adam French, and I guess the next half an hour will leave you thinking, what the fuck have I just listened to? Or how do I get the last half an hour of my life back? But basically, I'll just be chatting music and other things for however many minutes with guests each episode. I guess there's not really much more to say than that. I hope you enjoy it.
Get away from the wall! What are you doing?
Calm down, Paul. Calm down.
I'm not. Let's go get a cup of tea.
Could you just get your mum to stay away from the wall just for the time being?
How
And
much you
then
got to stay with her? She got water and plants.
could she maybe do it with a hose from a distance?
She's got a watering can.
Calm down, Paul. Calm down.
I'm not. I'm fucking sad.
So we're sat in my flat, and my guest today is Rhys Lewis.
Hello.
How's it going, mate?
Good, thanks. Yeah, great to be here.
Good
And
to have you.
Your flat is amazing because you look over the Thames River.
I know,
right
yeah.
on the-
That sounds a lot more glamorous than
well,
it actually is.
I mean, compared to my flat, it's pretty glamorous. I
Oh.
don't have a view like this. I look over into one boring road, so
well,
you can see the river.
it's
That's
good.
great.
It's good, but the road never stops, as you can tell now.
Yeah.
It's like standing in the middle of the M6
Yes.
a little bit every
Yeah,
now and
A
again.
bit loud.
A little bit loud, and hopefully it's not too loud for people to be able to hear what the fuck is going on.
Do you need to set an alarm, or can you just wake up with the traffic? Is that basically what happens every morning?
Do I need to set an alarm? I'm going to pretend I do set an alarm, and I'm going to pretend I have some sort
I'm
of
really productive
like,
every day.
daily routine.
I get up, go to the gym, have a juice.
That's exactly who
Yeah.
I am as a person,
Yeah.
as you can tell by my
Yeah,
buff physique.
Obviously, the NutriBullets in the corner. Absolutely.
So no is the answer. I don't think I do set an alarm, unless like I've specifically got to be somewhere like the studio or whatever.
Yeah.
I try and avoid alarms at all costs. I
Nice.
just don't like the sound of them.
Fair. Why don't you make your own ringtone sort of alarm? You could go into business with like
Maybe that's
ringtone
where the money
creation.
is.
Yeah, I think maybe if you get royalty for every one. I
Everyone.
don't know. I don't know what it works like.
We need to look into it.
We should start writing ringtones.
Yeah,
That
streaming.
was big in like the early 2000s. People would make
Like
their own
Crazy
ringtones.
Frog.
Crazy
Do
Frog.
you remember Crazy
I
Frog?
remember Crazy Frog.
What a prick.
I mean, I don't know what he's like as a guy. I just know he's quite annoying.
Very annoying. And he didn't just do it
Quite
once.
obnoxious.
He did it over and over and over again. There's remix after
Yeah.
remix after
Oh.
remix of the Crazy Frog.
There were some big ones. I can't remember. That was the biggest, wasn't it?
That was the ba 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 ba.
Would you say that was the first viral thing? Would that be the first thing that went viral?
I think it was the first viral, like, really shameless
Yeah.
success story.
Cheap, naff kind of.
Either
like-
that or what was the lad that went in the tractor and he was
Oh yeah.
he was overtaking his dad in
He's
a
like,
tractor.
come on! Yeah. I remember that.
What was
It was on those. It was on those phone. Our phones were so bad. It was so pixelated, but we were just.
I was happy with it. I was happy with 3 pixels.
It's great. There was also that dun. That was another
Was
ringtone.
that, was that a Crazy Frog ringtone?
I think it was like ring ring. He did a sort of like they did a remix of Miami Vice.
Sounds
with
like
Crazy
an
Frog.
absolute tune. Son.
Some weird things. The
Yeah.
internet. Eh?
Where did you grow up? It was Oxford,
So
right?
yeah, I grew up in just a little sort of like countryside sort of village called Longhambra.
Nice.
But no one's ever heard of it, so I just say Oxford.
Tell us
Even
about Longhambra.
Longhambra.
I'm intrigued.
Well, it's a lovely little village. It's pretty normal. It's not. Whenever I say I'm from Oxfordshire, it always sounds like it's really posh and whatever. But it's
I always expect sort of everybody to wear Hogwarts robes.
yeah. Everyone talks about Harry Potter, but it's just a normal village. But it's nice. It's got a co-op, some nice pubs. Although a few of the pubs have closed down now.
So is it a village rather than a town then?
It's just a little village, yeah. And it's about
Nice.
15-minute drive from Oxford.
Right.
And but there's not really much to do. There's a little park,
Right.
but it's very very quiet. You know, like one of your activities would be walk to the co-op.
Tranquil walk.
Yeah.
With thy dog.
Yes.
See, that's something that pisses me off about London is because everybody lives in flats and shared houses and stuff. I want a dog so badly. Like I've always had dogs as a
Yeah.
kid, and like my mum has a dog, my dad has a dog. Like me and my brother got my mum a dog a couple of years ago,
nice.
and it is the most amazing labradoodle ever. It's a psychopath, but it's absolutely
Yeah.
brilliant. But I always just I get massive dog envy whenever I go home, just because I have to come back and be all London.
It also gets you out of the house.
It
The
does.
dogs makes you go on a walk.
It does.
Get some fresh air. Whenever I'm home, I always make the most of that.
And what an absolute bundle of joy when you walk
know.
through the door. Just like you can be
Pure love.
as much of a dick
Pure
as you
love.
want all day, and they will still
Someone
come
will
back.
always love you.
They will absolutely adore everything that
Yeah.
you do.
It's quite a selfish thing having a pet, isn't it? Really. In a way, it's like we only do it because we want to know that there's always something that loves us.
If
right?
anyone's selfish, it's fucking cats. Because
Well,
I
yeah.
feel as though there's a lot of effort that goes into cats, from the owner, from the person
Yeah.
that gives the cat somewhere to eat and somewhere to sleep and drink and whatever. The cat doesn't give a shit.
Well, okay, here's where I am with cats. I actually think cats are quite like humans because we get quite familiar with each other, and then we only really they get familiar with us, we get familiar with them, and then they obviously like our attention, but they're not like dogs. Dogs are so needy; they always want your attention. But I think a cat, you put some food out for it, it obviously like that's
Devour it.
Yeah, devour it. But it's kind of, it has its own space, and you don't always want to be with the cat doesn't always be with you, but then there's times when you actually just sit together and it's pure, it's nice, it's pure because it's with a dog it's like its default is to just be on and always needy, whereas a cat's like when a cat wants your attention it's like
pigeon or something.
Okay,
yeah, no, I hear that a little bit. My manager's a massive cat man, and they do piss me off a little bit. I just think the nature of like
all cats,
just cats do piss me off.
Cats in general.
I love dogs. I absolutely love dogs. There's the odd cat I like. I'm into like Siamese cats and just odd looking cats. I'm quite into that.
Interesting.
But another factor is the fact that I'm massively allergic to cats. So that's always annoyed me as well. Like we started.
I feel
on
like
bad
you're
terms.
biased then, because if they make your eyes itch, you're never gonna.
Yeah,
like them.
we started on bad terms. Maybe if it wasn't for that, like I wouldn't despise them as much.
Yeah, true.
But I don't know.
I actually think I'm a cat and dog person. A lot of people say, "Oh, I'm a cat person, I'm a dog person." I'm both.
Can't double dip.
Well, there's values of both. I don't know why you can't just say they're two individual species and they work well in our lives for different reasons.
That's true. Like I like birds and I like foxes.
There you go.
So what have you been doing since the last time we saw each other?
So we were last. Well, actually, I last saw you in Finsbury Park because you were on a stag do.
Oh
you?
shit, the bed. Yeah.
So I caught up with you at half cut.
Yeah.
At the Faltering Fullback, which
That
is my favourite
such
pub.
a good pub.
Great
That's
beer
where we
garden.
first met at that pub, wasn't it?
It was
In the Ewok village out the back.
Village, yeah.
I love that place.
Yeah.
It's
We had
really
biltong. Since then, I mean,
Yes.
I'm vegetarian now. That's
Shut up.
The first thing.
good. I wouldn't have had you on.
Oh,
I'm joking, of course. I would.
This is no vegetarians allowed.
Of course. I
We're
would.
sponsored by Biltong.
It does make my gift a bit difficult later on.
Oh,
but
well,
we'll
don't ruin the
we'll-
surprise.
we'll
I
figure it
I
out.
probably
We'll
can give it
figure
to
it
a
out.
friend if
Yeah.
it's, you know.
No, fuck that. You gotta eat it.
Okay. Well, if you haven't been, anyone who's listening, if you haven't been to the Faltering Fullback in Finsbury Park, you haven't lived.
They need to give us some wedge for this as well.
Well, they should. Maybe we
Or
should
a
get them to
pint.
sponsor
I don't even care.
this.
Just half a pint or something.
Sponsor this episode.
Yeah.
I see. It's a great pub in its own right. When you walk in, it's got a really nice atmosphere, some great ornaments.
I just love
friendly
that beer
staff.
garden. That beer garden is amazing.
And then the beer garden. It's
If
a
you're
hidden
even
gem.
tipsy and beyond, that looks like something out of Star Wars, doesn't
It
it?
really does.
It is
really does.
really, really cool. I do like it a lot.
In summer, that's like the place to be in North London. I honestly believe that.
Yeah.
I'd stand by it. Anyone I've taken to that pub is just like jaw drop.
Centre of the universe pub.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was our first date was in the
First date,
Faltering Fullback, wasn't
Yeah.
it?
We just had a bitch, didn't we, about the music industry? That's basically, let's not like beat around the bush. We just had a bitch.
Fucking whinged about life,
Put the world to rights.
bonded straight up, and then we decided we were going to go for a candlelit pizza at an Italian restaurant on the roadside.
Do you know what I
if you
remember about that? Is that your pizza was really watery.
It was wet as fuck.
And I'd been banging on about this amazing pizza restaurant, saying they've just got the best pizza,
Yeah.
stone baked.
Do you know what as well? I was sort of smiling and being polite as if to say I
Yeah.
can't like poo-poo his favourite restaurant. But
Damn it.
that was wet pizza.
To be fair though, the next time we hung out, you took me to Pizza Express. So
Did I? No, let's not talk about that. That's not.
come on,
That's not going to.
was that revenge? Was that some kind of revenge?
I should have done like what do they call it, Chicago Town. I should have microwaved one of those and served it.
It's like, we're just gonna have dinner here, yeah. Candlelit. What was the question? Oh, so you said, what have I been up to since then? Summer, I was finishing writing my album,
Nice.
and I went to LA to do some writing, which is really fun. LA is
Lovely,
great. Have you been to
lovely.
LA?
Yeah, I have. We
Yeah.
went about 18 months ago.
Yeah,
Did a couple of shows and writing and a bit
Yeah.
of recording and stuff. It's a great place.
isn't it? The
It
first time I
is.
went, I didn't enjoy it at all, and I was. It's just, I suppose, in the same way as London. Actually, I didn't actually get on with London when I first moved here. But then I think it's all about who you meet when you're there and the kind of company you have when you're out there. And the first time I went, I just didn't know anyone, didn't know the city.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And but then this trip was great. I was there for 3 weeks. The weather was amazing, obviously.
Yeah.
And I just met the right people. Well, say the right people, some really nice people.
Yeah.
And had a good time and got
That's
to know
cool.
the kind of geography of the city. Because it's unlike London, at least you know there's a centre and there's a place where you can find stuff. Whereas LA, it's kind of a hit and miss. You can just
And you have to drive everywhere. Everything's so far away from anything.
Yeah, but I did enjoy it. It's different, but it is. I liked it. I don't think I'd live there, but
Yeah, I couldn't, just because of the fact that like anything that's hotter than 10 degrees seems to burn me to the third degree.
Oh, that's no good.
It is. That's sort of part and parcel with being a sort of
Fair-skinned,
incredibly fair-skinned young man.
Well, yeah,
It has its
tough.
perks.
It does have its perks.
Less likely to get run over in the dark.
Yeah, true. Less likely to be attacked by vampires. 'Cause
It's
they're
good.
like
Well, I'm
cannibals.
one, so it's
Yeah,
kind
exactly.
of
So,
it doubles up.
but yeah, so since then, finished the album, and then I started recording an EP. But it was weird because I was kind of demoing up the songs and looking for a producer. I'd worked with these guys, Bo Weaver, down on the Isle of Wight,
Nice.
for all the other stuff I recorded, and I guess I was just kind of figuring out where I was gonna record it and things like that. I put some demos together, and then my manager heard them and my label heard them, and they said, "Oh, these demos are really good. Why don't you just sort of finish them up?" So I ended up just producing that the last sort of 3 months of the year,
It's really
kind of
cool.
in the studio, and I've just basically started renting a studio with my piano player.
Yeah, you were saying Aiden, right?
Aiden, yeah.
Yeah.
So we went on tour together in February, and then did quite a lot of live shows the first half of the year. Became really good friends, and then we ended up sharing a studio, writing a lot together. And then it kind of just made sense to share the studio because I was there all the time and recording. So yeah, it's been really good. It's been nice actually producing my own stuff. It takes a lot longer, and it's definitely a learning curve.
Yeah.
I've made so many mistakes, but then through the mistakes, I think you find something kind of interesting. Not something you'd necessarily have thought you'd find when you.
There's
know.
definitely there's a certain comfort from self-sufficiency, isn't there, in anything that you do, and it's it's a great position to be in. But like from what I've heard so far, like with Better Than Today and the rest of the stuff that is part of that chapter, I guess.
Yeah.
Now, I feel like I think you're in a really great place, man. I think
thank you.
I really like it. I think it's an amazing song.
Thanks so much. Cheers.
And you were saying like the album's going to be basically self-produced now, right?
Yes. Well, I hope I can do a lot of it on my own. Just because I've really enjoyed it. I think I've learned a lot about the kind of process, and also working with some amazing songwriters. You kind of like go look over the shoulder in a session, and you see what they're doing.
Learning bits and
And
pieces.
through osmosis, you just don't realise it, but you become a little bit of a magpie.
Yeah.
And every time you go into different sessions, you're checking out how they're doing something. And even work with Bo Weaver, I learnt so much with them.
Yeah.
Just kind of looking over their shoulder, and we did a lot of it kind of quite live and quite real. So even just things like putting the microphones in the right place and stuff like that, you don't realise you've learnt it until you get to
It's almost accidental work experience, isn't
It
it?
really is, yeah.
I always think this about like all the sort of uni degrees and stuff that you can get in like music recording and everything else, whereas it's almost doing the artist thing, it's almost like a crash course of all of those sort of
Massively,
elements
yeah.
and lessons, and you sort of just learn from the people that you're recording with, and it's just great life experience.
It is, yeah. It's a funny process, and you end up putting so many different hats on. You doing so many different roles, and I do
and
enjoy it.
gradually sort of trusting your own sort of opinion a bit more, and
Yeah.
knowing that you know what's right. And
Yeah, absolutely. Especially, I think as well, I realised that I'm a bit obsessed with my own music. Obviously, you put your heart and soul into it, and I
course you
think no one else is going to care as much as you do about what you create, and so
and everyone else has got a day to clock off.
Yeah, and I totally get that. But I mean, having said that, Bo Weaver that I worked with before, they were like, we were in the studio till when it was finished. You know?
Yeah.
They were even though they got kids and wives and stuff, they were so committed. But I think just the fact that when you have your own space to record, and when you're not on the clock or someone else's time, you can it allows for ideas to evolve in a very different way, and you're kind of more able to make mistakes because and know that that's part of it.
Yeah.
So I've recorded songs and then gone, scrap that, let's start again.
Yeah,
knowing that I
completely.
can because I've got this place
There's less
to do
pressure on financial and less pressure on
Yeah.
sort of other people's time being invested, and I hear you.
And even just like I go down to the studio and I go, I'm just going to get the piano done for this song.
Yeah.
And if you go there and if that's your thing for the day, that doesn't sound like you got very much to do, but I think I remember when I was 13, I first went into the studio with my band when I was back at home, and we wanted to record an album in a day. We wanted to do 10 tracks in a day, and we'd written it and we'd rehearsed it. And I think, obviously there's total merit to that process.
Of course,
but then I
when
think,
it's done well.
yeah, and I
when
think,
it's-
well, there's some amazing records that have been done in that way, like jazz records and things like that. But
Yeah.
I think when I was growing up, my expectation of what studio kind of studio life was like. Yeah, you know, you go in, you record the song, it's done.
Yeah.
But and I think that has, you know, historically been a way of doing it. But certainly in terms of singer-songwriter genre and maybe other types of music, it feels like the process has definitely changed and it's a lot more compartmentalised. We don't record live as much anymore.
It's just a cheeky little Formula One car going past there.
Lewis Hamilton late for a dinner date.
Pretty fucking rude of him, to be honest.
Yeah. But yeah, so I think because of that, you sit with your own sort of songs for longer, and I think that's sometimes a good thing, sometimes a bad thing, but certainly in terms of having the best thing you can give your music is time. I really do believe that. You can buy all the best plugins and all the best microphones.
Absolutely.
But if you just are able to find a place or a way of working which gives you enough time to really improve things and actually, you know, allow for a process to form, I suppose. That's for me is what made my production something interesting.
Yeah,
I suppose.
absolutely. I think another thing, like in terms of timescales and stuff like that, when you're working with, you know, a group of people or one producer or whatever, like it tends to be sort of arranged in advance. So you say, right, we're going to do these few days in a row and whatever, but there's no telling that you're going to be on form on those days, or that you're going to be in the right mindset to get the best out of yourself or whatever else.
Totally.
So I've been recording more and more in here, which is literally my flat, and like, you know, just investing in a bit of gear and stuff, and actually just being able to dip in and out of projects as and when I want to, rather than when I feel like I have
it has to be done. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think as well, if in the same respect, working on a song for a few days and then having a bit of space away from it and then listening with fresh ears and saying, actually, maybe it's not quite right, I didn't like the piano part.
Definitely.
But if you've only got 3 days with the producer and you can't go back till the two months later, then
that pressure again,
you
that
kind of
worry,
just say,
the red
well,
light
I guess
fever.
it's fine, or, you know, you say, okay, that's okay. But whereas if you have a place where you can record your own stuff, it means that
you can end up having to settle.
You can go back in another day and the piano's still there and all the stuff's like really set up for when you want to use, you know, put something else down. So it kind of does take away the pressure and it allows for changes when they need to be made, like to feel organic as opposed to like a real stress.
Definitely, man, I completely hear you. So when are you thinking you'll be, like, do you have any idea on when an album's going to be finished?
Well,
rather than, not even just released, but like, do you know how long you want to give it?
I think I will have finished recording it by about May.
Nice.
May time, yeah. And so the EP was finished pretty much last week. So I just finished mixing that, and then I'm just cracking on with the album now. I think there's like 4 or 5 songs that I've got kind of good demos to work from.
Great.
And then I think aiming to kind of get the album done in the next few months, really.
And is there still, like, does it still lean towards the sort of older songs that you had in the previous chapter, or is it very much more like stripping everything out of it and just having it as you in a studio on your own creating this thing?
Yeah, I think it's a different sound in terms of the production. It's less band. I think it's slightly more contemporary. Yeah. And in terms of the sort of drum sounds and things like that, I think they're a little bit more they're less kind of like real drum sounds.
A little more samply.
A little bit more samply, partly because of the space and, you know, me working on my own a lot of it.
Yeah.
But I have had a few people come in and play on it, and there's some real drums and stuff like that. But I think I'm trying to find.
I like that though, when it comes to sort of your environment influencing what you end up recording, because you end up having to think in a different way. Yeah. Rather than just being like, right, let's get the drummer in, let's plonk some drums on. It's like, right, how do I make a beat that sounds interesting without a drum kit? Like,
hugely, yeah.
What am I smacking shoes against today? Do you know what I mean?
And also I've tried to get away a little bit from MIDI and using kind of because the thing about that is when you use MIDI, you can basically make every sound in the box, right? So because of that, every song you could come up with a completely different soundscape, which is really good for some things, and I think for producers it's really important. But then if you're working on your own music and trying to create your own sound, I almost think that giving yourself limitations and saying, right, here's like the 5 things. So I've got a Prophet 6, I've got a piano, I've got a Hammond organ, and I've got a Wurlitzer. Those are kind of like the sounds that I've been using almost like as a colour palette. And so I can obviously sculpt those different instruments into quite different sounds anyway, because they're very versatile in their own right. But by just using a smaller selection of things, I feel like by limiting what I've used, I've almost found a sound that I think feels almost like, because of the space I'm in, it feels like I've created a space. A sound, which is the first time I think I felt like I've had something that's truly authentic to me in terms of it not being trying to emulate someone else's sound.
No,
Do you
I
know what
get
I mean?
you. I totally get you, and I totally get you with MIDI and like sample packs and everything. I think people get like a little lazy with it, and then you end up just making loads of music that sounds like somebody else anyway. And especially like if your studio is a new studio and it's, you know, just you and Aiden in it at the moment, then the chances are it's only you that's going to sound like you've recorded in there at
true.
the moment anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
In terms of like other people that are, you know, operating in London or whatever.
Yeah,
When did you move to London? How long have you actually been here? Because obviously Oxford was
yeah.
the beginning of Rhys.
I moved to London about 8 years ago,
Right.
and I moved to study music down at a little music college in London Bridge.
I remember you saying actually.
Yeah, and then I think at the first few years of living there, I didn't really like it. I don't know what you felt.
I was the same. Like, there was loads of things that pissed me off a lot in comparison to what I'm used to. And this sounds like some miserable old northern prick complaining about the south, but it was like little things like if you smile at the wrong person on the tube or whatever.
Yes.
I've spoken to a couple about this people about this recently, and it's just like it's almost like a language barrier of what is socially acceptable.
Yeah.
Between where I
kind
come
of
from and
is.
where I now am, it's just like
Even living, I said this to my dad the other days when I was back home. When you go on a little walk to the shops with the dog, and then anyone you pass, they just say good morning.
Hello, how's it
Like,
going?
good morning. Yeah. You have a chat, and it's really nice.
Yeah,
and then when
yeah.
you come back to London, if you said hello or morning to a stranger,
Fuck off.
they'd be, what you doing, mate?
What are you talking
Or like,
to me
yeah,
for?
even me, when I'm if someone said to me in London, they go, "Oh, good morning," I'd be taken aback.
Yeah.
So I think everyone,
Or just pleasantly surprised. I'd just
Yeah,
be like
yeah.
a little heartened by it. But that was probably the biggest thing. And then like rent prices and stuff like that. Really
price of a
just,
pint.
Like, oh no, that is actually
is-
probably well up there with the worst of the
Yeah.
worst.
My
Like,
granddad didn't like London for that reason. He didn't like anything south of sort of, I don't know, say Coventry. He was like, I don't go.
don't mess with that, mate.
Yeah,
No,
anytime he came to visit us, because he can get a pint, we could get a pint for about £1.50 in his local working men's club. So coming down and paying £5.50 for a pint of beer
was outrageous.
yeah, it's
I
disgraceful.
completely agree with him. Like, I don't understand how there can be that big a difference. I mean, of course I get it, and it's about rent and all the rest of the bullshit that goes with running a pub down south in comparison to one up north, but it doesn't make it any easier to swallow, does it?
No, well, it makes it harder.
It does. It does. But yeah, I moved down here as a student as well, so at that point in my life, it was like, fucking hell, right, I'll just be on the
know.
old White Lightning on a park bench then, I think.
I think that's when you, as a sort of slightly broke student, you really appreciated a house party because
Yeah.
going out
absolutely.
was too expensive.
Yeah.
I had a lot more house parties
Yeah,
because
very, very true.
still probably do actually. What's the biggest thing you miss about the north then, compared to living down south?
Do you know what? I've got two gifts for you. One of them is a word, and that's one of the things I miss the most about the north, and the word is wanksad.
Wanksad.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm not sure whether
Isn't
it's
that two
hyphenated
words?
or not.
Yeah.
Could be hyphenated, but it's just a phrase that I'd like to pass on.
Okay.
Because some of the people that we've done this podcast with are northern, so I can't really
Yeah.
offer them anything in the vocab. But I
Oh,
can.
thank you.
I mean, if wanksad feels appropriate to use at any time
Beautiful
in
gift.
the next few
It's
weeks.
a beautiful gift, and I'm really appreciative of it. What does it mean? Can you use it in a sentence, please?
Well, going, for example, to buy a pint,
Yeah.
looking into that wallet and being like, oh, I've only got £5 and it's £5.50 and there's no one around to lend you the other 50p.
Yeah.
That's wank sad.
That is wanksad. Okay.
Yeah?
So.
Think of your own situation. I'll let you know whether it's worked or not.
Okay, so you're walking into the Faulkner and fullback, hoping to get a really nice spot in the garden. You get outside and it's just rammed. There's no bench. You can't sit down in the Ewok village. That is wank sad.
That is wank sad. That is pretty much, yeah, you've got it.
And then you've got to go to this really shitty pub down the road. Wank sad.
That is wank sad.
Oh,
Well, I'm glad that's working
thank
for
you.
you.
Yeah,
That's
I'm going
good.
to take that through my life with me now.
Yeah.
Forever.
The other gift is
Ooh.
this packet of oat cakes. So
Oh, thank you.
an oat cake,
Mate,
as
look
you
at
can
this.
see, is basically like a pancake or
Okay.
a fajita
Yeah.
that you wrap. This is what I was talking to you about earlier with you being a vegetarian. You're not going to be able to fully enjoy the potential of an oat cake, because if I was making it, it would be straight in there with the obscene pile of grated cheese.
Yeah.
It would have a fried egg. It would have sausages, bacon, and probably a bit of black pudding,
Wow.
and maybe tomatoes. But
Maybe some
tomatoes you can
vegetables.
do. But I'm thinking, like, what would you do? So you're veggie rather than vegan, so you could do
well,
the cheese,
you
which
could
is
do the
actually
cheese,
alright.
you could do mushroom.
Mushroom,
bit of halloumi in there,
Yeah, bang a
maybe.
bit of halloumi.
You could still do some beans, some
Definitely
tomatoes.
cheese. To be honest,
I
the
mean-
cheese. I don't know what I'm talking about. Cheese oatcake's good. It is
Cheese
good.
would be, you can't go wrong with cheese.
Have you ever had an oatcake?
I haven't. No.
That is the opposite
Thank
of
you.
wank sad.
I'm gonna-
That's banging.
I hope I don't burn my oatcake, so that would be wank sad.
That would be wank sad.
Terrible.
Mate, I want a selfie with your oatcake when you fucking make the first one, and you can just
Okay.
feel the smile on your
Okay.
face as it
Absolutely.
ticks off every box.
Considering it done.
But yeah, so I guess like before we finish up, I've got this this lovely list of northern cliches for you to answer to,
Oh.
and I just think quickfire is the best way about it.
Okay.
So I reckon
Instinctive reactions.
everything is either banging or shit,
Okay.
or should we do banging or wank sad?
I think, in
Might-
keeping with my new found knowledge.
Yeah, to be fair, like if you're gonna get good at using the word, it's got to be
Or shite, that's more northern, isn't it?
shite. Yeah, we did shite the other day. You can choose. It's either banging or shite, or banging or shit, or banging or wank sad.
I mean, it's a different type of bad, isn't it? So I can use it. Let me use it sparingly. I think I'll use wank sad on the occasion I feel it's necessary.
Okay, so if you hear one that is
Yeah.
truly bad,
It's just wank sad.
then it's wank sad.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I think so, yes.
Good. Rich tea,
Banging.
oatcakes,
Banging.
Gary Barlow,
Wank sad.
Robbie Williams,
Banging.
all you can eat buffets,
Banging.
chippy tea,
Banging.
a pint of beer for £3 or less,
Banging.
speaking to strangers on public transport,
Banging.
Phoenix Nights,
Banging.
Peter Kay in general,
I mean, beyond banging. He's great. He's my favourite.
double banging,
Double banging.
roadworks on the M6.
Wank sad.
That is wank sad.
Shite, wank sad. Terrible.
What a lovely, miserable way to round off our little podcast.
We should have ended one with a banging.
Oh, I can't think of anything good though. Then my list's done. I mean, is there anything else that you'd like to? I tell you what, what's banging from the north that you'd like to bring to the table?
Adam French. Adam French's music.
Oh,
There you go. Charmer, banging.
nice.
Adam
nice.
French's new single. Listen to it now.
I will
Spotify,
pay you for that. Nice
Apple,
one.
Apple Music. Stream it now. Buy it.
So, I think we should call it a day.
Thank you very much for having me.
Mate, thank you for coming round. Let's go and get pissed.
We are going to go and have a pint now.
Let's
aren't
go and
we?
have a pint
Great.
for £7 a pint. So that's
Get
going to
my
be fun.
credit card.
Yeah, Rhys Lewis. Lovely, lovely.
Speak to you soon.
Beer. This is the theme tune as well, by the way.
Is it?
I
like it. Who wrote that?
Just now, so we can go, we'll go halves on it. If you want.
Nice. Okay, right.
Get away from the wall! What are you doing?
Calm down, Paul, calm down.
I'm not. Easy, let's go get a cup of tea.
Could you just get your mum to stay away from the wall just for the time being,
How
and
she
then
can't stay with me? She got water and plants.
could she maybe do it with a hose from a distance?
She's got a watering can.
Calm down, Paul, calm down.
I'm not. I'm fucking sad.